Let's talk about the dirt biking here and your recent trip with a friend of mine. I introduced you to Shane,
Yeah.
and I think he's starting up a motorbike tour thing. I told him I'm going to bring him on the podcast maybe once it's ready, probably mid-June. For now, I'll leave a link to his Instagram in the description. So he's starting kind of these motorbike tours around Phuket. And to be honest, I've been here 6-7 years. This is a big part of the island that is missing. If you want to go on these motorbike tours, like you yourself, you did last time, you don't know where to go. And there is some in Chalong, but not much up here. Can you talk a little bit about your experience, working with Shane and going to Patong? What did you guys do? How did that whole setup all come together? What was it like?
Yeah, because I did ask you, because naturally I went to Chiang Mai last time, so it means, well, I have to buy Bangkok. So, I had to get a plane for 90 minutes, because when I'm searching for dirt bike in Thailand, I think Chiang Mai tours came up. And it was really good. Nothing particularly technical, but just to be 5 days in the jungle was amazing. But I thought, if I'm going to spend a lot of time in Phuket, there must be something going on here that's related. So then I spoke to you, and you said, well, contact Shane. And then, Shane is like an avid biker like me. So we were just chatting. The first time we chatted, it was probably about an hour just on motorbikes. And then eventually I went to meet him. We had a chat and had a beer somewhere, and that was really nice. And he said, well, what we can do is one of our friends called Carl Jeffrey, he's in Patong, and he doesn't lead, he does lead groups as such, but I don't think he's got a website. It's all more like, if a friend wants to go biking for a day, then you could just tag on with him. So he was on a KTM 253 ride yesterday, and then he lent me one of his KLX 230s, and then Shane brought his Honda CRF, not sure if it was a 300 maybe, or 250, I think it was 300. And so I met him yesterday at his place, and then we loaded up his bike, and then we drove to Patong, and then we met Carl, and then from there, about 11 o'clock, we spent about 4 or 5 hours from Patong, and then all the mountains around that sort of area. And it was pretty full on, pretty hot.
Is it technical, like much more technical than up in Chiang Mai?
Oh, way more. Way more.
So like you were saying to me downstairs, like if you've never been on a motorbike, don't even think about doing this part of this section anyways.
Well, there's probably, is like Carl was saying yesterday, there's obviously some easy bits some people wouldn't struggle with, but naturally from the easy bits becomes quite technical quite quickly, and add a bit of water to it. You know what I mean? So like, especially in rainy season where everyone's muddy, slippery, it's a different ball game altogether. So you need a good bike, good tires, and not only that, a good skill level, and things like that. So so there was, a lot of it was relatively straightforwardish. Yeah, but as soon as the tracks were narrower, my brakes weren't the best on the bike I was on. So going down steep bits where you need your brake a little bit. I was using the engine brake, but it was still, I'm in a rut and it's muddy, and my front brake's not really working, and I do need to slow down a little bit in some of the turns. I'm like, wow. So I'm almost using my feet to heel.
Yeah,
because it's quite. I remember we went for riverbeds, ended up by a dam. We stopped at a 7-Eleven. I needed to cool down because I was pretty hot. So we almost like stripped off in 7-Eleven and just had some drinks there. But no, it was great. But I know Shane is going to organise. I think he's trying to do it just off Phuket on the mainland.
Phang Nga.
Yeah. So because he said like there's hundreds of acres. Because the problem is, like in Patong, if you start there, you're on the road a lot. So naturally, to get to the dirt, it's road, then dirt, road, then dirt. And if people have never ridden in Thailand, they might not understand how local people drive, and suddenly they could have an accident quite quickly. Whereas because I come here often, it's easy for me to navigate, if you like, and I can sense what people are going to do, because people don't indicate that much and just cut out in front of you. Whereas I think Shane, the idea was that he is going to set up somewhere where it's like, you start on the dirt and you finish on the dirt, and there's not much road involved. You might start at local villages, but the traffic-wise, further south in here, it's quite full on. So
yeah, and what's interesting, I'm sure. So that was your first drive in Patong. He hasn't taken you to like this side where you.
No.
Yeah, because my understanding is you can pretty much even start out by Heron's Monument almost, where the dam is.
Yeah,
and that mountain, people don't realize you can follow that whole mountain all the way down to Chalong apparently.
Okay.
And it would have went through Patong as well. Now, were you kind of just starting at Patong and going right over the mountain down into the dam? You might have been at the Katu Dam, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Is it the dam with the huge track that goes around it? It's kind of like a walking track.
Yeah, there was a lot of people running and walking around.
Yeah, that's yeah. So you probably went right over the mountain
Yes,
down
about
into
20 minutes because we come back. We finished in a dam, but it was quite steep, this rocky area. It was like full on rocks all the way down. And that was towards the end of the day. So our arms were pretty pumped by the time we got down. And I had to put my head in the dam then.
If you enjoyed this content, we're doing 5 clips like this a week. If you want to watch the full podcast, click here.